Bad news on the Anthem front again, and I'm not going to go through the whole article, but essentially Bioware has released a patch for Anthem that has its own bugs. It's changing or breaking things that weren't broken before. Now, the past few weeks we've seen Anthem go through all kinds of issues and news reports, from hard resetting, which may potentially brick people's consoles, to guns completely not working or being broken, to level 1 guns being better than the masterwork guns you pick up, to not getting any drops, to all sorts of little hacks, all kinds of news. I'm not going to report on everything, but this one specifically irks me, and it's from a developer perspective. And when you deploy a patch to any piece of software, you're only dealing with the bugs. You're only dealing with specific problems that was released previously. It's not because you released bugs previously, but because the master copy, when it went gold or when it was deployed, had problems that weren't seen. So everything you deploy should fix those problems. And new updates, those are where you actually add new features, or you have a whole life cycle for those features. So in this case, weird things start happening. And they were fixing bugs, removing bugs, what have you, but they added to the number of bugs, which is unheard of. It's kind of bizarre. How can a patch, fix something and yet cause further problems? There's lots of ways this could happen, but it's very rare that this would get to a live build and be deployed. It would get caught in QA. It would get caught in testing. There would be at least a report about it or something, but maybe there's so many moving parts. Maybe they're understaffed. Who knows? It's hard to say. And I tried to figure this out in my head, so I could be wrong about this, but let me just think what's going on here. There's a possibility that the game was coded poorly in design. So they could be using stuff like global variables, that when you change one thing, you affect other things unknowingly, or maybe everything else. So that just implies really bad design. Again, this probably isn't the case, but if this does happen, or this is the case, then that means every single thing, every variable would have to be checked. So like scaling of one stat, you'd have to check that of one gun, and then you have to check every other gun, because it would affect every single one. So the stats of the guns, the classes that the guns are for, the abilities for those classes, the gun type for those classes, the skills associated with guns. I think Masterworks have modifiers there. There's percentages. So that could be one aspect of the game itself being poorly designed. That could be like a common feature. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Another possibility is somehow someone's testing branch of the master build or the master patch branch, like this is going to be a deployed live, got pushed to the latest patch. So think of it like I'm a developer, I'm part of the patch team, and I'm here to fix bugs. So then I take the live current copy and I copy it locally, and then I call it a branch in my Git repo or my SVN or whatever CSV I'm using, or CVS I'm using. And for some reason, that gets merged into staging or dev, and then it gets pushed to live. Now, that's very odd to happen, because for so many problems, like we're talking at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems have been reported, and there could be more. So they don't even know exactly what their latest patch did. But the way that this works is when you have a branch of your repo, which is your repository of the game, whether it's the master copy or the dev copy, it doesn't really matter. What that means is I have a different code than you do, or what everyone else does. And for that change to go live, to be approved, that means someone merged their branch with live. And then what happens is the compiler that does that says, hey, wait a second, your code is different. Are you sure you want to overwrite everything, or do you want to check it over? And there's two things you can do. You could actually go line by line wherever there's a collision, and you say, okay, I want my change to be stuck, or I want the old change to stay. And you do that for every check, and that takes a long time if there's lots of collisions. Or you can just force it and say, no, mine, which is local, is now master, is now live. Please deploy that. And that could have happened. Okay, so we have so far a problem with global variables of the design and potential development of the game. And then we have one developer with a potential local copy, or a dev copy they're using, that's just overwriting all the changes of the master patch to software to be deployed. Now, those are, I think, what's going on. It could be totally wrong. The third option is a lot more complicated, and there's a lot more things moving, a lot more moving parts. So we have like a dev team, we have a QA team, we have project managers, and somewhere along those lines, something's breaking down. Whether the dev team is doing their own thing, the QA isn't catching things, they don't have enough resources to catch everything, they're not spending enough time to catch things, or the project managers have their own agenda, and they're just pushing things out the door without being aware of what things need fixing. So there's lots of possibilities. And, you know, they could be a combination of all these things. I really don't know. But this is not looking good. This is not looking good. It's never looked good for Anthem, of course, but this goes to show us that there are really some incompetent or poor design and development choices being made at Bioware, that if they can't even get deploys to work, that their deploys have bugs within them and are breaking other parts of the game, this cannot continue. Forget their next title. Like, this is ridiculous. Any project manager, any director of digital deployment or whatever the hierarchy is in Bioware who would see this would start firing people. So, good luck, Bioware. I don't know what problem you guys are going to have tomorrow, but it's not looking good.